to talk about not so fun of a topic, but it is important. And it's My Client, My Predator from, would you even imagine, the Reader's Digest?
Yeah.
Who reads that anymore?
I didn't even know they still printed it.
Seriously. Well, my father-in-law, as you all know, passed away last year, and we're still getting his mail, and this still comes. So, and my husband's reading it, and he says, "Hon, you really need to stay on top of this." So that's why I wanted to talk about it and talk with our audience and let them know, if you're an agent listening to us, it's really important to be prepared. And I hope that if I can give you some of a little bits and pieces of this article, which I'm going to read to you, and then you guys are going to chime in, because all of us all have some sort of experience when it comes to this. Luckily, some are not as serious as others. So I'm just going to just dive right in. So these are some of the situations that agents have come across. So this one agent was so eager to have a listing. She's new, and she gets an interested client that wants to list their condominium. And she goes over there. She goes over there alone, and she's eager. She's more thinking of, wow, this is a listing I'm going to get in this neighborhood. I've been always wanting to get there. So that afternoon she goes over there. What happened was, as she went into the home, the man began inching his chair closer to her. Then he reached out, groped her thigh, and forcefully kissed her. She says, "I kind of blacked out a little bit. I was trying to be calm and collective because I was by myself in a stranger's house. The door was about 5 feet away, but I had no idea what this guy was capable of." And of course, everything's running through her head, and she just runs right to the door and gets the hell out. Thank God she was okay.
Good. Yeah.
Now, have any of you guys experienced anything similar to that?
No, thank God.
Many in the beginning of my career, door knocking, as many agents do, right? You go around the neighborhood, you knock on the door, hi, you're interested in selling your house, etc. So I was doing that thing, knocked on the door, gentleman answered, invited me in. Okay, so I went in because he wanted to show me his house. Okay, the one thing for sure that I did and that I've always done and that we will always recommend to everyone out there is you never let the person be behind you.
Mm-hmm.
You always step aside and you guide them to go in front of you. You never want anyone to be behind you. So I did that. I knew enough to do that. But like this gal in this article, I was so excited, wow, I might be getting a listing in this neighborhood. I want to come in, see the house, and walking around this room, that room. And then he says to me, "Now I want to show you the bedroom." And all of a sudden, like all the red bells are ding, ding, ding in my head. And I stopped in the hallway. I made him go in front of me. And I'm like, yeah, no, none of this is right. And I turned around and I left. And that was the last time I door knocked. I have, you put out calendars or you put out notepads or a market update. A lot of agents will do that. But after that, I never knocked on another door. I was never going to put myself in that position. And it sucks, right?
I know.
It sucks because that's a way to meet people. And I know that not all people are bad and not every door is going to, whatever. So
I know. And the
happen.
funny thing is when you're doing door knocking, and you get someone who's interested in talking to you, what are you going to say? "Oh, no, you're a stranger. I can't go in."
Yeah. It's like, why'd you knock on the door in the first place then? Right.
Exactly.
And I think people are just nowadays, this was 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I think now people are even more super leery. They're like, "Oh, someone's at the door. Wait, let me look on the Ring camera. Wait, do I want to answer it?" No, it's, I don't know. I don't know how many agents actually door knock anyways anymore.
Yeah. I don't think too many. But it's really crazy. Anybody can call up and say they have money and they want to see a house at any time. And this is one of the things I think, I don't know if any of our listeners heard about NAR settlement, but it's requiring us to sit down with clients, have them do a buyer's agreement, which would mean that the first time you meet them, it's either in person at a coffee shop, at your office in your conference room, or maybe even a Zoom call to go over a consultation, say, this is what step one we need to do. And then step two is go to a lender. You don't even have to be subject to meeting them for the first time, total strangers at a vacant home.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
right. I know, Christine, you were gonna go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm taking it all in. I mean, I haven't had the experience where it's got that close. I've had the creep feeling. I've had talking to someone on the phone and setting the appointment. Say to my husband, I would set the appointment to where he would be around. I say, hey, you want to take a ride with me? Or my son. I would take somebody with me because I wasn't sure. I'm dealing with a man by himself. I don't know him. I don't know anything. But that's not to say that a female can't do it, right? I mean, I know Debbie, you'd shared some time back, and you may want to share it again today, that you had a situation with open house. That's why we don't do open houses by ourselves, or you shouldn't. You never know. People come in, who's coming in, what their motives are. In this day and age, sorry to say, we just can't be too careful. And when there's actually a crime show on TV. I can't think of the name. My girlfriend, when I first became a realtor, turned me on to say, oh my gosh, I've been watching these stories of realtors who've been murdered. I mean, that's extreme. Have been murdered, raped, whatever.
Yes, I have a story of that one. Yes.
Yeah. And she was so worried about me. And I said, listen, don't worry. I said, I do not, if I feel unsafe, I don't go in. I don't go in the basement. I don't go by myself. I take somebody with me, whatever. Now, have I done open houses by myself in the beginning?
Right.
Sure, I have. Because I think, I'm in a good neighborhood. I'm in a good neighborhood. Things are good. Now, I know that, Lisa and I have teamed up in not so great neighborhoods and said, hey, we'll do yours, we'll do mine, we'll whatever, because it's just, it's just the safer thing to do.
Alone.
Yep. But I have had the creepy feeling, I haven't actually had someone make the aggressive step, but I have had the feeling, and my sixth sense kicked in. So,
you had mentioned about murder, and unfortunately, that does happen in our industry with agents. And I don't know if anyone's heard of Carl Carter. He became an activist for the real estate agent after his mother was murdered. And her story was she had just finished showing houses all day long. And this was in 2014. And she was about to go home, and she gets a phone call that someone wanted to see a house at 6 p.m. And so she called her husband and told him where she was going to be and that she was going to show one more house. And she'd be home for dinner before getting into her brown Cadillac, driving 30 minutes outside of Little Rock to show a home to a stranger. She was never seen alive again. Carter was 50 years old when she was murdered. Her killer lured her into an isolated property by pretending to be an interested buyer, kidnapped her, suffocated her, and eventually buried her body in a shallow grave nearby. He later told reporters that he targeted Carter because she was a woman working alone. And he's been an advocate ever since. And what's really interesting now, is that NAR, our industry that has, that we paid membership for to look out for us as realtors, according to the law, we are independent contractors, which means they are not protected. We are not protected under Title VII, the federal law that prohibits discrimination and sexual harassment in the workplace. So we are on our own, and it's up to us to be creative in how we want to protect ourselves. It's just very disappointing. However, in this article, hold on one second.
A sidearm would be
that
nice.
NAR actually...
Well, in many states, that's an option.
Yep.
For us in California, it's not.
Yeah, right. But
well, Donna
can you carry something like
that?
So,
you take a partner.
Yeah.
This lady right here, she does carry a gun with her at all times. And she began carrying a gun on a job years ago after a friend encouraged her to get tactical training. And what happened with her was she was closing up on an open house, and a gentleman came in the house. He was a tall man with a shaved head who stood outside, said he was interested in potentially buying the townhouse she was showing. She let him in, and when she asked to see the upstairs, she led him to the primary bedroom. Then he suddenly pulled up a shirt, revealed a 12-inch knife tucked inside his pants. He also reached for a canister of bear spray and dosed her in the face.
No, this is awful, Lisa.
But that day she had her Springfield 9mm gun hidden in her ankle holster beneath her pant leg. She fired one shot and he flew. And yeah, that is the only way you're going to survive.
Yeah.
So
and
now, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say.
I wanted to say, so another thing about that is, and I'm sure you guys are the same way. At an open house, I never leave the doorway-ish, the front doorway-ish, or depending on how the house is set up, I will stay in the front entryway or the kitchen, but I never, 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 never take anyone upstairs. Not anymore.
I can't say that.
Not after many, many, many years of doing this. So, I mean, I'm just like, you know what? Have a look. I'm here. Let me know if you have any questions. And I always stay right near that front door or that back door. Yeah. It sucks that we have to do that. So.
No, totally. I only had one, you know how when you just have a feeling, you have to go with your intuition.
Yeah, always.
I was showing a property probably 2 years in the industry. It was at the shore. And I had a couple that I was talking with, and a gentleman all by himself comes in, and I said, hi, I'll be right with you. And he goes, all right, I'm just going to walk around. And he walks around and he disappears. I never see him again. And, what I did was I got my keys and my phone. I got all my belongings because I didn't see a bicycle out front. Now it's a shore. You could have walked, you could have rode your bike or a car. Nothing. Crickets. And I only had 2 people in that open house. It wasn't like I had a mob of people.
But you still had to go to all the other rooms and close up and do all that.
I didn't do that
what
yet.
If he was hiding somewhere?
I still had time on my open house. That's what I was thinking. So I got all my things and I went outside and I just sat on the curb and just walked around. And I was just kind of looking and I'm like, where's the car? Where's the bike? And I'm going to wait for this guy to come out. And then I forced him out, but he disappeared throughout the whole house. I mean, it was a big house, 3 stories, but I was letting him do his thing. I was not following him.
Good.
And I waited him to come out. And then he just walked and went around the corner. And I just quickly locked the whole house up and I got the hell out of there.
Yeah.
It's just an instinct. And that's what you have to be aware of. You just have to be conscientious, know these stories because these stories will protect you.
And it's not even that it's not only that they could be harming you, but they could be casing the joint for many things. It could, if it's an occupied home, checking out, obviously for medicine cabinets or stealing things. I mean, it's just it's really a huge responsibility. And honestly, I think that some agents aren't very strict, especially those big open houses where I went to one, 36 people, at least were of couples of people. So I'd say 36 groups come through and she was by herself. Not everybody was signing in. And honestly, it's a protection for you and your seller who was in that home. Now they could obviously give fake information, but the fact is, there are lots of opportunities to do this online, like where you capture their information, take a picture of driver's licenses, something. I do think we as an industry need to tighten up on some of these ways we do business. We have just been this sort of, friendly, get the job done kind of, and we really need to think about our safety, our clients, personal properties and safeties, lots of things there. And in the world we live in now, I don't think you can be too careful. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Yesterday I was here, or this weekend, Saturday, listening to a story about how people are taking over homes now. And if it's empty for 30 days, these particular people are just.
What about it?
All over.
Squatters.
Correct. But they're able to get away with it because the home was vacant for 30 days. So if you have a house on the market and it's empty, so now you did an open house. They figured out, cased the joint, they figured out, left the window open. We don't know. And they get back in. Somehow they take over the home. And we didn't capture their identity or anything. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of things to have to think about. And our personal safety is number one, obviously. But I just think the way we do things. So
Yeah, it
like you
just
said in the
it
beginning, like doing the consultation, meeting them somewhere public, getting to know,
Yeah.
get a feel, trusting your sixth sense about when they come in the home, not doing these things. I mean, you getting out, separating yourself, staying
Well,
away.
well, that's why I kind of like them to talk to a lender, because they have to produce their license to the lender. So then I know that they are legit
yeah,
and
yeah,
they've
yeah,
taken
yeah.
that extra step.
All
Oh,
of
And
it.
so
totally.
I don't
Yeah.
usually ask, but even
Yep.
now on the buyer's consultation, I think I'm going to ask for a copy of the license and attach it to the file.
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
did, this is really just for security measures. But you know what? I did not know this until I got into it. And I definitely want to share it with all you guys. You guys have heard me mention this before, but our audience, as agents, sometimes we take on bank-owned properties. We want to do business. We want to keep our, our months full. And obviously this is what we do. We close properties. So, but did you know that the banks rely on us to be the first interaction to the person that is living in that home?
I think that's
And
special.
that is so not right with me. And what
Mhm.
what I mean by that, Christine has come with me in a couple scenarios. I knocked on the door. So here's the scenario. I get the
Yeah.
listing. I knock on the door. The dog's barking. Okay, great. And Christine's like, you want me to come with you? I said, no, just sit in the car. If there's any problems, you call 911 right away. And so the guy comes to the door and he obviously closes it and comes out to the porch to talk to me. And I didn't get close to the door. I was standing on the porch to like where the steps were. And I said, I just wanted to reach out to you. The banks have started the process of foreclosure, and they, I need to ask you a couple questions. Are you the owner? Are you renting? And so I find all that out. I hand him an
I
envelope.
believe that's your job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
What do you guys do in
insane.
California?
And if it's
Chrissy?
empty,
Yeah.
Well, not that. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
no, if it's empty, I have to go in it and
Yeah.
inspect the entire house. And the hell if I want to go down a basement and
Mhm.
take pictures. And they all have like strict deadlines. Have this done in a day, have this done. And it could be full of shit. And God knows what's in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like their belongings, like they're not clean. And did they have a dog and the dog like messing? I mean, it's just so disgusting.
Yeah.
It's not even funny.
Yep.
And so I'm like, and they only want to pay you. Everybody complains about commission, and realtors get paid very poorly. I mean, get paid too much. That's what I meant to
Yeah.
say. But when you're doing bank owns, you're getting paid poorly is what I
Yes.
really wanted
For that work.
to spin that, because they give you 1%. And one deal, I got 0.08%. I got not even a 1 full percent. And I almost stepped on a rusted nail. I almost was infected. I mean, when I think of the things that I have done, I'm like, it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it.
Hey.
So when I meet clients, agents, agents that have these bank-owned properties, and it's just a number or a piece of paper to them, I know why now. Because there's a lot involved in this, and you're not getting paid to support that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just your life here.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Oh,
it comes for us as it comes from all angles. You're talking about the buyer side right now, Lisa, and we were talking about the listing side, door knocking, trying to, procure, helping somebody sell their house. But I'm sure you guys get them too. I get these things on my phone all the time. Would you like to help me in broken English, different forms of that? Would
Yep.
you like to help me buy a house? I have so much money, blah, blah, blah. But
Yes.
I
My
can
boss is
only
interested in
contact
buying a
you
house.
on WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
WhatsApp. I'm
Yeah.
like, delete,
Yep.
delete, delete all the time. We get
Yep.
those.
Yep.
Yeah. You know why they want to be on WhatsApp? Because
Of course.
the texts don't last very long. They disappear.
So, yeah. So, you got to be careful out there.
We do.
Especially the ladies, the men too, of course, but especially the ladies.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and
Well,
listen,
I hope you guys all find this valuable. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it can also happen with couples. This show that my girlfriend had said is that the one deterred the other while the other did you know what I mean? Like they were working together to kidnap. So you think you're
Gross.
safe. Oh, it's a couple. Don't take any chances. And I think your sixth sense is they'll start showing they'll be doing something weird. You cannot be naive. That's the big thing. You just cannot be naive.
No.
Yeah. So, but I
No,
think
100%.
identification's huge.
Yeah.
Anyway. That's all I want to say. Couples can do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, stay safe out there. And if you have a story and you want to share it with us, please do. We can always revisit this topic. Just comment below and we will make sure we cover it on our next episode. So stay tuned.